MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Welcome, Quack.
Program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
The web at
Let's face it, life after service ain't always easy. Far too many veterans continue to struggle in silence. But you don't have to fight this battle alone, because we are here to help. This ain't no group therapy. It's the after party to the battle. Full speed ahead, after battle. Real talk, real stories, no BS. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. You are watching Full Speed Ahead After Battle. I am your host, Josh McCabe. We are the newest show here on NBR Talk. Now, I know you're probably thinking to yourselves, great, another guy on the radio or on the show with a podcast, a vlog, whatever you want to call it. I'm not here to make us famous. I'm not here to get rich or anything like that, people. My only mission with this show is to help our veterans. Why am I doing another veteran show? Because we're still having way too many veterans commit suicide every day. We're still not talking about that mental health that our veterans are facing. So that's why I have this new show on NBR Talk. Every Monday, it's going to be 7 Central. Our show, we're going to be focusing on one of, if not the biggest topic when it comes to veteran suicide, and it's that transition from the service to the civilian life. This is one of the major factors when it comes to veteran suicide and mental health within our veterans, because they go from everything they know, they're told when to wake up, when to eat breakfast, when to shower, when to work. They go from that into I get to make my own decisions. And that is one of the most difficult things when it comes to veterans today. So we are going to, on this show every Monday, we're going to be focusing on that transitional topic, whether it's the good, the bad, the ugly, all that good stuff. We're going to be also talking to some professionals in a mental health world. We're going to be talking to some veteran service officers. We're going to be talking to some professionals that are going to be helping us with those skills translations or those resume writing aspects. We're going to do everything that we can on this show to help our veterans with that transition. And if I can help just one person make it successful coming out of the military into the civilian world, then I've done my job. So I don't want to sit here and take up a lot of your time talking to you about the show, because you're really going to learn more about it as we get into the weeds and we start talking. So when I decided to do this show, I said, what better day to do it than on Labor Day? And that is the start of Mental Health Awareness Month. So this whole month, we're going to be focusing on mental health awareness. So it's a big topic. It's something that I feel when I was in the service, the military did not talk about whatsoever. And so that was a thing that a lot of veterans faced back then. And even to today, it is becoming a bigger topic. It's becoming a bigger topic. And so we're going to start talking about it, because the more we talk about it, the more it's going to get out there and the better it is going to be to help our veterans. So we're going to take a quick pause, and then we're going to come back for our interview of the week, and we're going to be talking with YNC Chris Birkrem, a guy that I have known for over 20 years, served together. And so we're going to be talking to him, catching up, and getting into the stories about what's going on. So without further ado, let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Hey, my name's Andrew Wiscombe, and this is my submission for the Gems in the Rough 2021 contest. Came home soiled from a dirty war. Thought I knew just what I fought it for. Big brass bands and apple pie, all the reasons seem so cut and dry. Overseas, a million miles away, through a million dusty, hard-fought days. Bombed out towns and smoky skies, unshed tears have got me wondering why. They say the eyes are windows to the soul. Please don't look too closely, well, there's nothing left to show. I hang around where I once played, trying to fake it through the day. Never really worked out anyway. 'Cause it takes a fool to fall for roses made with white mache. Oh, it takes a fool to fall for roses made with white mache. And I've tried every job in this whole town. My aching mind refused to settle down. Uncle Sam taught lethal skills. Odds and ends now help to pay the bills. Left home feeling more than 10 feet tall. Quite a long, hard way for one to fall. Friday took a hand grenade, spangled banner doled into a grave. They say this place I live is called the home, but it feels more like a prison. It feels so numb, it feels so cold. They tell me I'm a special one to serve my country with a gun. So why do I still feel the need to run? No, I ain't a fool to fall for roses made with white mache. No, I ain't a fool to fall for roses made with white mache. They say that God forgives the man who tries, but they've never been to Baghdad, never heard those mothers' cries. And when I lay me down to sleep, will he take my soul to keep, or will he cast me out into the deep? 'Cause he ain't a fool to fall for roses made with white mache. No, he ain't a fool to fall for roses made with white mache.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard, MBR Talk.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Josh McCabe. This is the premiere episode of Full Speed Ahead After Battle. I appreciate y'all tuning in. We had just a little bit of technical difficulties. So we are going to go ahead and we're going to have our interview of the week.
Interview of the week sponsored by LTD Tactical.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I have with me YNC Chris Birkrem. Welcome to the show, Chris. How you doing?
Thanks. Doing well, buddy.
Good. So, I couldn't think of a better person for this premiere episode today because you and I, we go back a long way, right? So, why don't you fill everybody in? Tell us, where we started, who you are, where you've been, all that good stuff.
Yeah, my name's Chris Birkrem. I'm out of the state of Wisconsin. That's where I enlisted. Did all my boot camp and schooling, and then went to my first command, and that's where I met my buddy Josh here.
Yeah, so we started, let's see, back on the USS Austin in 2000, was it 3, 4, something like that?
Yeah, it was the end of 3, beginning of 4.
Yeah. So, man, long time. We were in deck department, right? So
Right.
100 people, and man, we kind of got screwed over by those recruiters, right?
Yep,
Oh yeah,
exactly.
go deck department, learn a few things. Yeah.
Right. Started from the bottom.
Start from the bottom. Yeah. So, tell me a little bit about your career. You've been kind of bouncing all over the place. You went Undez and a couple other things. Why Omen now? So,
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about your career.
Yeah, so I started out undesignated, like you, got screwed over with the recruiter contract. So did undesignated for almost 3 years, and then I switched over to SH, which is ship serviceman, and finished off my active duty career as a ship serviceman. And then after I got out of active duty, I decided to focus on college. Active duty really wasn't for me. So I did 6 years of college, got my master's in accounting, and then found out I was still missing that camaraderie, that meaning. So I decided to join the reserves and do both civilian and reserves at the same time.
Wow. How's that going for you in the reserves? Obviously, it's doing good. Chief now, you just made that, what, 2 cycles ago?
Yep, 2 cycles ago. Yeah, so when I came into reserves, I was able to use my degree to come up 2 ranks, and I switched over to yeoman at that time.
Okay. So why did you decide to go yeoman after ship serviceman?
Because I was able to use my career, my degree, and my prior service to come in as a yeoman. That was the only option at the time, so I just took it.
Okay. So, let's go back a little bit. Me and you, we started back when, it's kind of old school Navy, when you used to have tune-ups in the boats and whatnot, right?
Right.
And now it's time out in boot camp because my feelings are hurt. So, tell us a little bit about the last 20 years, your experience with, how it was when we started and, where we are now as far as, the mental health aspect of it.
Yeah, like you stated, it was a harsher Navy back then. It was pin you against the wall and yell at you if you did something wrong, or extend your hours just because they didn't like your attitude. But when I switched over to the reserves, that was a point when they started to switch to the kindler, gentler Navy, where they would allow you to take breaks, mental health breaks, in order to recover from whatever training's going on.
Right. Yeah, I definitely probably could have used a few of those in boot camp, but we did not.
Absolutely. Boot camp and on that ship.
Yeah. So, okay, let's talk about stories then. Talking about mental health awareness, you and I, we've been talking for a long time, and something obviously I'm struggling with. So let's get into that story that started that with me, because I don't remember what happened that night.
Right,
You're
right.
the one that was there. You remember it. I know you joke when we get together every once in a while with your wife.
Mhm.
You kind of tell the funny story of it, but you know, let tell me your version of what happened that night. And
Well,
so,
we
you know,
were
let me preempt it real quick with for those of y'all that are just now tuning in. You know, many years ago, I had a traumatic brain injury. We're going to talk about that shortly, but you know, that's something I've been struggling with for a long time. That's what got me into veterans and suicide prevention, mental health awareness, and so you know, Chris is going to fill us in on the true story of what happened. Chris, take it away.
Yeah, sure. So it was one dark evening. We were setting our sea and anchor detail. So Josh and I were assigned to the aft steering, which is in the far back bottom of the ship. There's two paths to take, one through the marine berthing and one through the flight deck. We decided the flight deck that night. It was pitch
I
black.
think we were loaded down with Marines, weren't we? That's why we
Yep,
wanted through all those B-ways.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we decided to take the flight deck. We got outside and we kind of gave ourselves a few seconds to for our eyes to adjust to darkness because the detail you couldn't have any lights outside. So we began to walk uh, down the flight deck on the edge in order to get to the stairs down. Josh here thought he saw the stairs and took a step off. And when you take a step off the flight deck, there's this area down below where they have all the equipment and whatnot. So he fell into that area, hit a couple stairs, and then hit the bottom of it. I there's another guy with us who saw it. He ran and grabbed Josh. I ran inside to get some help.
Yeah, that was a good what 6, 7 feet down into that catwalk.
Oh yeah, it was quite a ways down because that's where the flight crew kind of sit when helos are on deck.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, and you know, right there, that was just those couple of wires. So it's you know, just inches from going through those wires, right? Falling off.
Right. If that guy hadn't have been right where you dropped off, he probably would have rolled into the ocean
Yeah, and
unconscious.
y'all almost got in trouble for that, right? Captain's mast threatened,
Y-
or was it?
Yep. Yeah, it's because we weren't using proper lighting, so they went
Oh,
ahead and
what are you supposed to do on a 60-year-old ship at the time, right?
right. They issued all of us flashlights with the red inserts so that we could use them at night on the flight decks.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So you know, amazingly, so I was unconscious, you know, for about a night, and I woke up the next day, and they almost instantly put me back to work. Right, at least
Right.
it was in the office doing some computer work, but you know, they got in trouble because they should have medevaced me off that ship. I mean, we were just a few miles off the coast, and
Yeah.
you know, when I got back home and I started blacking out and stuff, and I went to the ER and uh, you know, did CAT scans and whatnot. They said it's amazing that you're still here because you know they should have sent you off the ship. So, you remember anything about what happened after that? Did you know?
Yeah, I went down to medical to see how things are going, and they had you put onto the bed and cut off your coveralls, and we're just basically checking all your bones to make sure you're good to go.
Yeah, yeah, man, that is you know, it's definitely something that I think about all the time because like you just said, you know, that was almost the end of me being here, and
Mhm.
you know, I had a wife and a daughter at the time, and they would have been left without me. So, you know, I tell a lot of people, you know, Chris saved my life, but a lot of people say, "Oh yeah, so and so saved my life, and I wouldn't be here without him." But you know, it was definitely a true story. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Chris. So,
Yeah, we
um,
do joke, but it was
yeah,
a very traumatic incident for all of us.
yeah, yeah, and you know, they put me on limb due for a while and bounced around a couple of places, and I could have got, you know, medically retired, but at the time, you know, I just kind of lied about it because I had no idea of what to do if I got out of it, right?
Right.
I had a family to provide for, so it's like, I'm gonna lie about it. I'm gonna stay in and keep collecting that paycheck, and it's probably one of the worst things I could have done was not seek that mental health after all that. So, before we get into that, let's go. We're going to take another quick break, and we're going to get into the mental health part of that. So, let's take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Staring out this hotel window, many floors above. What's missing down there is love. Thinking through the smoke that fills my mind. Don't worry, it's not my first time. Adios, amigo. I'm so glad I seen you. I won't be seeing you around. Adios, amigo. I've been looking for you since I stepped foot in this town. They say it's all inside, heaven and hell. What happened to that angel when he fell? Give it just one try. Tell me you don't like it. Be God for a moment and don't despise it. Adios, amigo. I'm so glad I seen you. I won't be seeing you around. Adios, amigo. I've been looking for you since I stepped foot in this town. Step outside and breathe. Play a little in the street. Hope it's not me they're sending. Move on from over there. Give the kids a little scare. Oh, these fences, they need mending. Adios, amigo. I'm so glad I seen you. I won't be seeing you around. Adios, amigo. I've been looking for you since I stepped foot in this town. Adios, amigo. I'm so glad I seen you. I won't be seeing you around. Adios, amigo. I've been looking for you since I stepped foot in this town.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
All right, welcome back to Full Speed Ahead After Battle. Again, I'm your host, Josh McKay. Before we left on break, we were kind of talking about the old days and what happened to me, falling off the ship, that traumatic brain injury. Chris, I don't know if I told you, but I had another head injury about a month or so ago. I had something fall in the garage and cracked my head open and kind of blacked out for a little bit. And so I'm kind of going through the whole thing again, you know. And the VA is definitely not helping with that. So, let's get into the medical side of it, the mental health side of it. And like I said, I didn't want to get out of the military, right? Because trying to provide for a family and everything, and I didn't know how things were going to look. So, let's talk about your transition a little bit. And so, you said you got out of active duty and you went and got your master's degree. So, did you have a good experience with your whole transition coming out of the service?
Absolutely not.
No.
No. Even back then, it's just a check in the box for them. I mean, it was 2-3 days. Went to a class on base. They just shove information down your throat, give you a couple pamphlets, and say, "See you later." So it was rough.
Yeah. So you kind of found your way though, going back to school and
Yeah, it took a little bit. I went back home, stayed with the parents for a little bit, tried to figure out life. Ended up just applying for schools on a whim, and then got into that.
So, going from back then to now talking about tap class and everything, have things gotten better as a chief? Have you seen things now?
Absolutely
Still the
not.
same old stuff.
It's gotten worse
Really?
because of our environment allows more virtual. They're just doing it virtually, so it's even worse. You're not in person. You're just watching a screen for a couple days.
So you think this is why a lot of people are struggling because they're not giving it. So, when I went through, it was, Home Depot is a great place for veterans. Or Lowe's is a great place for veterans. But when I tried to apply for that out, they're like, no, thanks. So, you know, uh, it's a struggle, right?
Right. Absolutely.
So, back then again, there was nothing about mental health awareness, right?
Oh no, it was still very stigmatized back then.
Right. Yeah. It's sit down, shut up, do your job. We're not going to
Right.
talk about it. I think the most they talked about was DUIs. Don't get a DUI unless you want to.
Right. Don't drink and drive.
So, yeah. I mean, so let's talk about mental health. What are you seeing as far as it's your people? I know you got a lot of. You're a department head now, right?
Right. I'm a department head.
So, what are you seeing in your people with mental health? Are they still struggling on their own? Are they becoming more talkative about it?
Well, they're a whole different generation coming in now. So in the boot camp, they're a lot softer. They tend to help people with their mental health and guide them through. So I mean, it's better there. But again, they're just dropping them into the fleet where you got 3 different generations: old school, middle ground, and new. So there's no uniformity for mental health.
Okay. Man, that's one of those things, I should have thought after that injury because you kind of let those things go and you don't talk about it and, things just kind of pile up and that's, what leads to a lot of problems. A lot of veterans coming out, they don't have the success with that transition. They turn to alcohol or drugs or,
Mhm.
domestic abuse and just all kinds of different things. And that's one of the biggest things that leads to veteran suicide, right? Is because of that transition, they're not set up for success. So, uh, yeah. So you say that there's What do you think that stigma is? Is it like the leadership just doesn't talk about it?
Well, the stigma mostly, I believe, nowadays is towards security clearances. People
Mm.
think if they go seek help, it's going to reflect negatively on their career. They're not going to have security clearances, which means they're not deployable. So they lose out on opportunities.
Yeah, I know. I think one of my biggest things about the seeking the mental health when I got out was coming back to Texas. I wanted to get my concealed license, right? And
Mhm.
so you go to the VA and you're saying, I'm feeling suicidal or PTSD or depression, something like that. All that stuff goes back to the government, and then it's like you can't get that anymore. But luckily, Texas changed the law, you know, constitutional carry and all that. So, that's what I struggled with. That's why I didn't want to seek help because I was afraid that I was going to get blacklisted from something, right? So what kind of coping mechanisms did you use when you got out and you were struggling? What worked for you? What didn't work for you?
Unfortunately, I myself went the same route as a lot of people who don't have support. Drinking, partying a lot. It's because you don't didn't have that structure anymore. So it's kind of like, what do
Right.
you do with it? So yeah, I did a lot of drinking, a lot of partying. My first year in college was quite rough
Yeah.
because just too much drinking.
Yeah. I mean, that's nothing new for us. We put them back in the day.
It continued
Right.
right through college. But that's the
Yeah.
thing. Like, you need resources when you get back into a civilian world because you can't be doing that in the civilian world and be functional, be
Right.
successful in your
Yeah.
careers.
Yeah. I know going back to work in the civilian world, they don't like it when you show up hungover. And we're in the service. It's like you have to show up hungover for your job. That's how you pass your PT test, right?
Right.
Drink all night long and then go run a mile and a half. So,
Hmm.
oh, man. So you know, uh, you're in the reserves. Have you done anything to help your people with their transition? When they're going to get out, what are you suggesting to them aside from TAP class? Do you have any advice to those guys that are getting out, those ladies that are getting out trying to go civilian?
Yeah, absolutely. The reserves are quite unique. You can be mobilized as an individual, you can be mobilized as a unit. And so that's tough to go from civilian to active for 10, 12 months and then come back to being a civilian. So if anybody's coming off of those, I normally step in before they even come back, making sure everything's lined up so that they can come back properly and then ask them direct questions because I know my guys. Ask them direct questions on what if I see something off.
Okay. Yeah. So, sorry. One of those thoughts, crossing my mind, and it's just like takes you off on a transit. And so, let's talk about that transition. A lot of people fall into that alcohol and stuff like that. When I got out, yeah, it's exactly that. You miss that camaraderie. You get out of something that you know very well. You have your friends, y'all do the same thing, and then you come home and your family, your friends back home are not the same. And so you try to find that place, whether it's the VFW that I tried. At that time it was just a lot of guys that just want to sit there and drink and smoke, and that's all they did, and that's fine for them. I tried a couple of motorcycle clubs, and for me, it worked for a minute, but believe it or not, I ended up leaving one of them because I drank too much, right? So go figure, a motorcycle club drinking too much, that's when you know you have problems. So like Chris said, you got to find that that way out. You need to look before you even know that you're getting out. I know for me, it was kind of, I got booted because I couldn't make rank, fast enough. unfortunately, that's the way the Navy goes. But yeah, you got to start planning way in ahead. You got to figure out what you're going to do with that. And so, I luckily, when I was up in Washington, I had a good service officer up there that got me started on the VA paper before I even got out, so that was submitted. So do you have any information? I don't remember that in TAP class, Chris, that they talk about going and getting the VA paperwork started, but I know that is one of the biggest things that a veteran should be doing before they even get out. Document every single medical issue, because I tell you what, when guys get out, they are having 15 years to get their disability claims approved, and it's because a lot of people, their DD 214 says they were deployed to Iraq, but the VA says nope, not service related, right? So, what is your experience as a chief in documenting everything and VA claims and things like that? You got any input on that, Chris?
Absolutely. I'm a huge advocate for doing it while you're serving. I myself am going through a VA claim, and it's been 5 years for a service-related injury when I was deployed. And I have tons of other friends that are struggling as well with the VA, that they're not deployable, so they get separated, but they're not getting paid because they didn't connect it to their VA service ahead of time. Right. So I'm always advocating for all of my people to, if you're on orders, something happens, document it. It doesn't matter if it ends up being nothing, just document it.
Yeah. And when he says document it, guys, that means, even if you twisted your ankle playing baseball, go to medical, document that, because, later on it might turn into something more. And if you don't have it documented, they're going to claim that it's not service related, and you're going to be SOL on that.
Yeah. And then you're going to have to fight to try to explain how is service relatable and try to find evidence. Right.
Yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and take a quick break again. We're going to pop in a video, and when we come back, Chris and I think let's catch up on some old good times. We've been talking about some down stuff, but we're going to go back. We'll talk about, I don't know, Gloucester, Massachusetts, right? That was something else, right? So,
right.
All right. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
Everywhere I go, trouble seems to find me. There ain't no place that I fit in. Raised in the backwoods, and just like him, oh, I'm a fighting man. Well, I was born with a gun in my hand, child of this land. Lord, please save me from my sins, out here howling in the wind. Look to the west, see your sunset. Someday kneel at the pew. This old wasteland, it is my land. Around here I do what I want to do. Well, I was born with a gun in my hand, child of this land. Lord, please save me from my sins, out here howling in the wind. I go, trouble seems to find me. There ain't no place that I fit in.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back on Full Speed Ahead after battle with Chief Chris Birkrem. If you're just now tuning in, this is the premiere episode here on Labor Day of Full Speed Ahead. We're going to be talking transition, mental health awareness, suicide prevention, all that good stuff, trying to help our veterans out. So if you can do me a favor, go like, share, comment. We want to hear from you on all this good stuff. One person can't help all these veterans out here. It takes a village. So we need to get as many people talking about this as possible. So before we went to break, we were talking about some mental health issues in the current military, the previous military, or long-time military, how things really haven't changed around that stigma. And it's going to take a lot more than just a couple of people on podcasts like this or, a lot of other groups talking about it. Everybody needs to get involved to be able to help these veterans. So let's take this a little bit different. Let's go back, Chris. Let's talk about something fun. I mean, we used to throw down when we were in. What were one of your favorite times that we had while we were in?
Yeah, definitely. As you stated before the break, Gloucester, Massachusetts. We pulled in there for their fair up there, and we got to go out in uniform and hang out.
Yeah, man, Gloucester, Mass. That was the Lobster Festival, right? And
Right.
people that don't know, Gloucester, Massachusetts, there in town, is the bar from The Perfect Storm. And so we went and had a few beers there, a few beers a few other places all over town. And yeah, crawling back onto the ship that night. I mean, there was some people that couldn't make it back on the ship. And yeah, I don't know if we want to tell that story.
No, but we definitely weren't paying for drinks there.
No, that's one of the good things, when you go different ports, different places like that, they always want to party with the sailors, right? And especially the guy from Texas. They hear that accent, like, yeah, we need to go have a few drinks with him.
Right.
Man, we had some good times. I always talk to my wife. She went down in the Bahamas with her family a long time ago, doing some sailboating and stuff like that. And I tell her about what I can remember of St. Thomas. Yeah, that was another crazy one, right?
Right.
Yeah. Did you have any other good port calls or places you visited after we went our separate ways?
When we deployed to Iraq, we hit a bunch of different ports on the way in to the Gulf and on the way out. So there's plenty of good times there too.
Yeah, I know Chris, as he works with the state, he travels a little bit and goes to different places around the country doing auditing and stuff. So we try to catch up every once in a while. We've been together down in San Antonio, Oklahoma City, and yeah, you haven't been traveling that much with the state.
No, because I'm higher up because I'm a chief now. So I'm doing more Navy stuff than I am doing civilian stuff.
Okay. You like doing more of that than the civilian stuff? Or?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Why is that?
I just miss the command. Yeah, just being together, like having that sense of purpose, all that stuff.
So, that sense of purpose, that camaraderie and everything. How is that different now that you're a chief? I mean, you get to go to all those blacklisted sites that you tell all the regular guys you can't go to.
We don't do that. We don't do that. Yeah. It's the chief mess is a lot closer. We call each other brother and sister. Like, it's huge there. If you need something, they're there for you. If they need something, I'll show up. So it's a lot closer than just your typical Navy.
Yeah. So any discussions in the chief mess around mental health or suicide prevention or anything like that? I mean, are y'all talking about it?
It definitely comes up, especially around chief season time when we're training the new guys and they have mental breaks. We pick them up and help them as best we can. So it gets talked a lot in the Chiefs mess.
Yeah. So is there still that stigma for those people in that if they're reaching out for that help that they're not going to make rank or anything like that?
Yeah, the stigma's there, but
Oh,
the Chiefs mess, we're trying to push it down to our members that if you need help, just get it. And they're pushing a lot of the resources too more.
yeah.
But people are saying, nah, I'm good. Just keep going.
What kind of resources are y'all pushing out there?
Chaplain, of course, and then the new 811 number.
Yeah.
The crisis hotline, the military one source. Those are our big ones that we're pushing.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. The crisis line they have that text messaging, and for if you press number 2, that's for the veterans line, and that'll get you in there a lot faster than civilian people. And from personal experience, when you go that route, like with this head injury, I was trying to get into the VA, and I could not get a hold of anybody in Fort Worth or Dallas or Denton about it. So I finally decided to go on the crisis line, with the advice of a fellow VFW member, and going through the route of that number 2 to get to the veteran crisis line, they have the access to set you up with those mental health appointments. And I think I got one within the next week. And so if you're having trouble getting into the VA or anywhere else, go through that crisis line. It is confidential. Your information is not going to get put out there, but that is a route that is out there in case you don't know that. So, yeah, that's one thing I probably wish I would have known sooner because I've been going to the VA. I was going for some stuff, and I had surgery on an ankle, and they sent me to an outside doctor because they don't have the doctors there at the VA, and they tell you we're going to send you to the outside doctor, but when you have to have like the aftercare or the medication or the equipment, they send you back to the VA, and you have to go to the VA to get that stuff. And so when I went back to the VA, I was saying, "Hey, my doctor wants me to get this kind of equipment," and well, the guy was on his little chat computer in the office, and they're talking like, "We don't have this stuff. I wish all these veterans would quit coming in here and asking for things that we don't have. Just tell him we don't have it. He's going to have to go pay for it on his own." And you know what? I left the office and I never went back to the VA after that. And that was 10 years ago. And I know there are some VAs that are good. A lot of people do have some good experience with the VAs. A lot of people don't. But there are other options out there. VFWs, American Legions. There's so many veteran groups out there for people to reach out to. And you're not alone in this. If you think you're sitting there and, man, nobody else is going to understand me, nobody else has gone through this, you're wrong, right? There's a lot of us that have been through the same thing that you've been through. We've been there. We know the tricks on how to get that help. So, you're not in this alone. Reach out, ask for the help. Somebody will get you somewhere, right? And so, how active is, I guess, is the VA for the reserves or the active duty? Y'all go through the VA, or y'all still go through medical base?
It has to be service connected in order for you to go to the VA. And like I said earlier, the documentation, if you don't have it, you come off a deployment, you're broke. There's no documentation. VA is not even going to look at it, especially with the reservist.
Yeah. And, and it's not just about the veteran himself. He's got the family, he's got a wife or a husband, parents. If you're a dependent, the VA is there for you as well. I know you have to get signed up as TRICARE or whatever it is now. And there are options out there because, it's just as tough as for the family members as it is for the veteran itself. I know I tell everybody all the time, Chris can attest to this, but my wife has probably saved me more times than not from becoming, one of those 22 because she's been there every step of the way. And I know, she struggles with it too sometimes, and I get it. But, there's help out there for the family members as well. So, as far as the reserves, do you have any information, Chris, as far as what family members can do to get help for either themselves or their spouse that's in the service?
TRICARE is really good nowadays. It wasn't back then. There's still kind of a stigma to TRICARE, but TRICARE is actually really good nowadays. They can free mental health, free checkups, all that kind of stuff. Even if it's not service related, as a civilian, I still go see them. It's actually cheaper for me to go see through TRICARE than it is my civilian job. So TRICARE is really good nowadays.
Yeah, I've been going through my private doctor for the longest time. Luckily, I had some decent insurance in my work. Yeah. We got a couple minutes left, Chris. Anything that you want to talk about that you want to make aware to those veterans out there struggling, whether they're active, reserve, civilian? Any advice that you want to give to them?
Just reach out to somebody, especially if you know a chaplain, or just reach out to the chief's mess too. We our network, which I found out is extremely great.
Yeah.
Like if I needed to contact somebody in Florida right this minute, it would take 3 people to get there. So if you're a veteran, you're stuck somewhere weird, you're having a rough time, reach out to somebody. Somebody will get you help within your region, within your city. We know somebody somewhere. And you use Military One Source. Military One Source has a ton of different resources for mental health. You can get, I believe it's 6 free sessions, no cost. They don't even take your information down, just for you to talk to somebody. And if you need further help, they'll evaluate you and they'll find you a professional that's within your cost range.
So what is Military One Source?
MilitaryOneSource.org is basically a tree of resources for any veteran, anybody on service. You go there and then you figure out what kind of resource you need. You need health, you need mental health, you need dental, everything, the education, that kind of stuff. They'll have it on there, and they'll have a point of contact that you can reach out and get the help you need.
Yeah, there's Military One Source, VA. There's so many resources, like we said so many times, but you can't say it enough because somebody's not going to listen. Reach out to your local VFW. I know some people think it's just the old guy sitting there at the bar, but there are a lot of VFWs out there. I know mine. We have a younger leadership team now, and we are focused on mental health awareness, suicide prevention. As a matter of fact, we just recently helped a veteran a few weeks ago. He was down on his luck, and he hadn't eaten in a couple of days, and so we were able to help with that. But like I said, just reach out, ask for the help, ask any military group that's out there on Facebook, whatever. If they're a true veteran group, they will help you out because we're here for all of us, right? Like we said before, and if you're just tuning in and you don't know the statistics, 22 veterans commit suicide a day. So that means in the time of this 1-hour show, more than likely one veteran is committing suicide. And a lot of times that is because they do not want to ask for the help. They think that it makes them weak. It makes them ashamed that they're asking for help. But we're all here to help each other out. And I know Chris and I, we go back on text and we have some serious conversations. We have some fun stuff, and that's kind of what the show is about. Is you want to have those tough discussions, but you also got to find a time to laugh about it, right? Because if you can't joke around in the serious times, you're not going to make it out alive. No pun intended. But that's why we still catch up when Chris is around. Or I guess I need to make a trip out to Wisconsin now. I was just up there in Illinois. I'm thinking, man, can I make it up to Wisconsin? Got too much going on. So let me ask you before we sign off, Chris. How's the family?
Family's doing great.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been through some ups and downs, but yeah, we're doing great over here.
Yeah. Starting school next week, growing old.
Yeah, getting older and older.
Yeah, so you used to babysit my daughter back in the day, so they get a little bit of practice, right?
Right. In some diapers, jeez.
Yeah, way back then. So, all right. Well, we got 5 minutes left, Chris. Let me ask you if you had to say one thing to the veterans. I know I already asked you your advice, but if you had to say one thing to people listening, whether it's veterans looking for help, it's civilians just need some mental health awareness or anything like that. One thing, what would you say right now?
Just reach out.
Reach out. That's it, people. Reach out. Ask for help. You're not in this alone. So, Chris, it's been great. I know we could probably sit here and talk all night. We need to have a few beers sometime. Let's we'll figure something out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get back together. But all right, Chris, it's been great catching up with you. I will see you just as soon as I can. Thanks a lot for joining on the premiere episode of Full Speed Ahead After Battle. We'll be here every Monday night, 7 Central on MBR Talk, or you can follow us on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, all that good stuff. Make sure you like, share, comment, because like we said, the more people that talk about this, the more people that are going to get that help. So just remember, people, you're not in this alone. Ask for help. Reach out.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.